the mental capacity to understand what we're feeling, what happened, why it happened. And that is still true when we're 45 and 55, 65, etc. Okay, so the thing is, but when you're 5, often you say, that happened because I did this. That happened because of this. So I will never do that again. Now, does this sound improbable to you? No. Okay. Key soul decisions, key life decisions, actually key aspects of the way you choose your identity and who you are going to be come out of moments exactly like that. Right? So, one of the things with Saturn in Scorpio is to look at, and let me tell you, I definitely have lots of these, like these, those emotional states where you keep going, this person did that, and you're on the phone and for 3 days you're talking about the same thing but to different people. Those are the kind of things I'm talking about. Okay, you're talking about, you're trying to do it. Some people don't do it that way. Some people go silent and don't pick up the phone for 3 days, but it doesn't mean they're not doing the same thing, right? They're churning, and it's only when they stop churning that they can have a conversation again. Okay, so I'm looking at these kind of this is only one aspect of Scorpio. Okay, because again, the creative power in there. When you read sun sign books, like the people who are Scorpios are a little bit embarrassed. I'm a Scorpio. I'm a Scorpio, but I'm really nice, really. There is this. This is important. There is this kind of power. There's this connection to this core place. And once you're not afraid of it, it's really creative, really interesting. Okay. Now, we all have this. Everybody has this. You all have all 12 signs in your chart. Scorpio is, when I say Scorpio, I'm actually talking about an archetypal pattern. Okay. So one part of the archetypal pattern is the thing that you will do anything to protect. Again, it's a little bit like, sometimes you get something toxic in your system and your body seals it off. It creates like literally a little sac inside. But when that thing gets released, boom, all the toxin pours through the system. But what's happening? We have a groundwater trine. So as that water comes through, all that water comes through, all the toxins can get flushed out. All may be a bit of an exaggeration, but the ones that are ready to be released. So so just take a moment. Do you know where the block is or the break is in your own life? What is the thing that's blocking the flow? Yes, of course.
If I may add something, wait a minute, I got my notes on my lap.
Is my watch upside down? Oh.
It's all right. It's all right. When it comes to thinking about blocks or identifying, this is where I want you to get off the first floor, because you will tend, I think, to think of something obvious. And here, as you melt into a different way of thinking, I want you to get out of the obvious and muse or reflect on the blockage that comes from holding an archetypal myth that needs to reconstruct itself. Okay, for example, that's trying to reconstruct itself, that perhaps you're fighting. Now, here's a myth like that. At one of my recent workshops, and this is why it's real prevalent, the mother archetype is very, very strong. And an aspect of the real devoted mother archetype is that the mother needs to be needed. But at some point, it's how does the mother need to be needed? In the early days, that need is very obvious, very physical, very moment by moment, very daily. The child cannot survive. But eventually, the child needs to determine how it needs its mother. And the myth rewrites itself. And a mother has to let the child rewrite the myth. It's called letting go. And if that does not happen, there's a crisis. Okay, and what happens is it turns into a different type of mother-child struggle. Okay, and this is where one has to look at what's going on here. Are you seeing what I'm saying? A myth has to be rewritten. A myth has to be rewritten like that, like your good friend said. I'll always have this house. It's interesting because I'm going through that. And I didn't think I would go through that. And as I was describing it to Lynn and my good friend Ellen, that and Lynn and Ellen are two of my closest friends. And here's Uva, another lifetime friend, who's just sold his house. And I know how much Uva loved his house in South England. Again, Uva's home and mine, very similar. We had very comfortable, homes, and the unthinkable starts to emerge. The unthinkable, the thing you never thought you would think about. The thought that comes from the outside, that comes from the inside, that you did not invite in. I did not invite this thought in. It is it's just percolated. It's found its way in. And it's not welcome and it's not leaving. Mm-hmm. Okay? Both are true. And so it's beginning to rewrite. It's gotten a piece of chalk and it's beginning to rewrite things. It's beginning to rewrite the future that I had envisioned for myself. And I cannot stop the writing now. This is a very extraordinary thing when it starts. And I've experienced this before. And the being in me that has the chalk in its hands wins. And I'm now fighting to get the chalk back. Okay? And there is a struggle, a profoundly deep struggle going on in me. And that's why I'm taking this workshop. I'm giving it and I am taking it. I'm giving my part of it, I'm taking her part of it. Okay? But I am living this with you. So I may as well tell you that. But it means to be, I am so deeply relating to this because it is actually unfolding in me, and it is when the unthinkable. So when I'm describing to you that when you look for that part of you that has begun to change, or that thing that's happening, don't look for something obvious. Look for something uninvited sometimes. Look for something that is attitudinal, or something in you that you really still want to believe, but you can't. And even though you want to, it's simply melting in front of you. And no matter how much you want to keep it alive, it's simply dying in your arms. And the structure that goes along with it is going to disintegrate in front of you. And you just simply can't keep it, because every mythology has something in the physical world that goes with it. It goes with it. That's why these myths are so powerful, because they just don't, they're not just mosquitoes, you know, kill it and oh well. You recognize that a myth is evaporating from your psyche, and you better look around your world, because it's going to take something with it. Like all of a sudden your house goes, or you feel the strings of a relationship go, I can't feel it anymore. Mm-hmm. Or I feel something and it's gone. It's gone. It just, how could it? And then you understand what Buddha says when he said, it was an illusion in the first place. You thought it was permanent. Even the concept of permanence an illusion. There's nothing permanent. How can anything be permanent when a fundamental law of the universe is that change is constant? So therefore, even the concept of permanence cannot possibly exist except on your Christmas wish list. I would like this to be permanent. Why? What would you really like to be permanent? You know, so I just wanted to share that with you, that when you look at what it is that is changing, you cannot come back and say, I can't find anything. You are mistaken. And you do not know yourself. And you are not looking where you need to be looking, which is that you can feel like what you are telling yourself about yourself. That maybe you'll tell yourself, you know, I always thought that I would be, you thought you'd be what? Or I always saw myself as, you know, I'll settle down next year, and you feel the wrenchingness in yourself that's saying, you know what? You better knock it off and make a decision. It's time to do or die, or bite the bullet, or whatever it is that's going on in your life. You got to pay attention to body parts. You got to pay attention to your body parts. You got to start, there's something about the timing in the world now that postponing is done. I can't explain it, but I feel like we've been given enough time to kid ourselves and to postpone and to make up excuses that, well, I'll wait till the kids grow up, I'll wait till this, they need me, I can't change. All of that stuff is lies, and it's over with now. I feel like we have to get on with the business of mature decisions.